American Jews have been lucky in that in the United States we've really been embraced into the us of this society, which isn't to say that there's not widespread bigotry against Jews. We have all sorts of sort of fringy bigots, but I had never encountered significant anti-Semitism in my life. And so I went into this project with a real sense that I had an obligation as someone who wasn't being targeted to use that privilege that I have to speak up for those who are being targeted. And then just recently, just last week, I discovered that my name ended up on a list of about 8,000 Jews that a hate group, an anti-Semitic hate group, had put together to target. Certainly prior to the rise of the Trump campaign, whether or not you blame the campaign, I don't know that I had ever encountered significant online anti-Semitism, and the same is true of most public Jews that I know. And yet, in the last year, there is something that has happened in Jews online, particularly on Twitter, but on all sorts of forums, are being actively targeted in a way that Jews have never been actively targeted in the United States. So you see all sorts of rabbis, friends of mine, who are sent pictures of the ovens on Twitter, who are accused of, controlling the world, of using Israel as a whatever it is, just incredible anti-Semitism that has arisen. And I was someone who, as a general rule, I thought that my elders in the Jewish community overemphasized anti-Semitism. And I had a response to it, which I think was to minimize anti-Semitism. I think, many Jews of my generation grew up with a much better knowledge of the Holocaust and of Israel than we did of Judaism. And much of my rabbinate, much of the Torah that I try to teach is about Judaism over these things. But I think what I've realized is that was also a mistake in the sense that there clearly was this undercurrent of anti-Semitism. There clearly is this undercurrent of anti-Semitism that has been energized in a way that it never has been before. So personally, in the last few weeks, for really the very first time in my life, multiple people who I don't know, connections of connections, have called me a Christ killer on Facebook, a God killer. The more I've reflected on it, the more disturbing it gets. That there is a list of Jews to be targeted in America. First of all, on its own, that's disturbing. But then the idea that my name is on that list, and that my name is accessible to exactly the sorts of fringy people who might go pick up a gun. There's a natural inclination to pull away at that point, right? While I haven't responded to that, I have felt that inclination within myself. And then it struck me that that's exactly the nature of privilege, right? That once the privileges we have are challenged, we start defending them. Rather than using them to do what is right and what is just, we start trying to maintain our own sense of privilege, our own sense of not being targeted.